Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Simple Mind Space podcast. Today, we're diving into the final part of our three-part series on spending principles. In the last two episodes, we embarked on a journey to understand how we can use money to enhance our lives. Before we jump into the finale, let's take a quick recap of the key points we covered. Those of you who have already listened to the first two episodes can skip ahead. Now, I understand that talking about spending can be a sensitive topic. After all, we don't want to give the impression that we're advocating for reckless spending. That's why in the first episode, we dedicated a significant amount of time to understanding our income and planning our finances. This not only equips us with essential money management skills, but also reminds us that spending should always come after we've taken care of our essential needs, built an emergency fund, and made provisions for investments. Only then should we consider spending on things that bring us joy and enhance our lives. In the second episode, we explored the fundamental principles of spending that empower us to make conscious choices about how our money can best serve us and elevate our quality of life. Having laid down this crucial groundwork, today, in part 3, I'm excited to share some practical ways I personally utilize my finances to improve my quality of life. Before we get into the specifics, I want to emphasize that my intention here is not to boast about my spending habits. Rather, my goal is to provide you with insights into my decision-making process and the reasoning behind my spending principles. By understanding my perspective, you can glean valuable takeaways and inspiration to craft your own personalized spending framework. For those of you just starting your financial journeys, especially the younger generation, please remember that these are the principles of someone who has already achieved financial freedom. Some of these principles might not be immediately applicable to your current situation, and that's perfectly okay. Don't let comparisons create unnecessary pressure. Instead, view them as aspirational goals that motivate you to strive for more. With those points in mind, let's dive into the heart of our topic. My first and foremost spending principle revolves around treating myself to items categorized as wants rather than needs. These are things I desire for personal enjoyment, like that fancy gadget or a luxurious vacation. My unwavering rule is to purchase these items using cash, fully paid up front, no exceptions. I never allow myself to fall into the trap of debt for such indulgences. For instance, I've always been a car enthusiast. However, I acknowledge that a car, beyond basic transportation, falls squarely into the want category. It's on my wish list, but not a necessity. Owning a car is about indulging myself a little after years of hard work and disciplined saving. And because it's an indulgence, I'll only purchase one when I have enough funds to cover the entire cost outright. Borrowing money to finance a want is simply off limits. My second principle is equally straightforward. I never hesitate to invest in anything that enriches my knowledge and skills. This includes expenses like books, in-depth research materials, and courses. In this area, you could even say I indulge a bit. Whenever I stumble upon a compelling book or a course that even remotely hints at potential value or knowledge expansion, I don't hesitate to invest. To give you a sense of my commitment to this principle, last year alone, I spent close to $50,000 on knowledge enhancement activities, ranging from books and materials to both online and in-person courses. My rationale is simple. I firmly believe that any knowledge I acquire is an investment in my future. Take books, for example. While the knowledge contained within might be considered 100%, I understand that I may only absorb 10% or even a mere 1%. But even that sliver of knowledge is a win in my book. The same applies to courses. Some are incredibly comprehensive, but even if I only extract a single impactful lesson or a thought-provoking statement that positively influences my thinking or work, I consider it money well spent. The remaining 99% of unabsorbed knowledge, I still see it as a gain. After all, I had the opportunity to encounter it. That's why I've never regretted spending money on activities that nurture my intellectual growth. My third principle aligns closely with the previous one. It's about prioritizing my health and well-being. I firmly believe that our health is our most precious asset. As the old adage reminds us, sickness enters through the mouth. This principle goes beyond just myself. Witnessing people forced to compromise their health for financial survival is heartbreaking. Imagine enduring hazardous work environments just to put food on the table. It's a harsh reality many face. One of the driving forces behind this podcast is to empower you with the knowledge and tools to build financial security so you too can prioritize your health and well-being without compromise. The fourth principle is one close to my heart: indulging in the simple pleasures of good food. This might seem trivial, but it stems from both my focus on health and my personal experiences. We all know the vital role food plays in maintaining our well-being. Beyond the nutritional aspect, this principle is rooted in my own journey. I started with very little, and there were times when I craved certain foods, but simply couldn't afford them. Now, having achieved a level of financial stability, I've made a conscious decision to never deprive myself when it comes to food. I allow myself to savor whatever I desire, within reason, of course. If it's delicious and doesn't compromise my health, I'll enjoy it without guilt or reservation. My fifth principle is a bit more specific. Due to frequent air travel for work and leisure, I've made a conscious decision to fly business class whenever feasible. I understand this isn't feasible for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. My reasoning for this indulgence is rooted in maximizing my time and energy. For years, I subscribed to the frugality mantra, opting for economy flights to save money. However, over time, I realized this approach was counterproductive. Arriving at my destination exhausted after a long flight meant sacrificing precious time and energy, which are invaluable resources. Consider a long-haul intercontinental flight. I'm someone who struggles to sleep comfortably in cramped economy seats. As a result, I'd arrive at my destination utterly drained, needing at least a day or two to recover. Those lost days translated to lost productivity and experiences, making the initial cost savings negligible. Flying business class eliminates these issues. I arrive refreshed and ready to seize the day. The time and energy saved for me outweighs the cost difference. It's an investment in my productivity and well-being. And remember, we've only discussed the time factor. Add to that the health benefits, better sleep, more comfort, and reduced stress, and it becomes a no-brainer for me. Whenever I can use my finances to enhance my sleep quality and overall health, especially while traveling, I prioritize it without hesitation. My sixth principle extends the concept we just discussed. I prioritize time over money whenever possible. It's a simple equation. Money can be earned and replenished, but time, once gone, is lost forever. This realization led me to adopt a time-first mindset. Whenever there's an opportunity to trade money for time, I seize it without overthinking. This might sound abstract, but in practice, it's surprisingly applicable. Think about those fast-track options you often encounter when dealing with paperwork or administrative processes. By paying a little extra, you bypass the queues and save precious time. While I haven't encountered this specific example in my country yet, I'm hopeful it will emerge soon. The point is, these are opportunities to exchange a finite resource, money, for an invaluable one, time. This principle extends to various aspects of life. For instance, when it comes to commuting, I live in a city where you can choose between toll roads, faster but with a fee, and regular roads, slower but free. My choice is almost always the toll road. The time saved is well worth the cost, allowing me to be more productive or spend those extra minutes doing something I enjoy. My seventh principle is all about enriching my life and relationships through experiences. If you follow me on social media, you know I have a penchant for adventures and road trips, often embarking on journeys that span multiple countries. From a purely financial standpoint, these adventures can be expensive, but for me, they represent a priceless investment in memories and personal growth. For example, last year, I embarked on a month-long road trip from Vietnam through Tibet and all the way to Everest Base Camp. It was an incredible journey, covering thousands of miles and countless breathtaking landscapes. Naturally, the cost was significant. However, the experiences, the stories, the people I met, these are treasures I'll carry with me for a lifetime. That's why I see it as an investment in intangible assets, something far more valuable than the monetary cost. This principle extends beyond grand adventures. It's about creating special moments with loved ones, whether it's a simple weekend getaway or a celebratory dinner. These shared experiences form the fabric of our lives, and I believe in cherishing them without reservation. Remember, money can be earned back, but the opportunity to create lasting memories is fleeting. It's about prioritizing happiness and connection over penny pinching. My eighth principle might seem a bit unorthodox, but it's been profoundly liberating. I allow myself to use my financial resources to distance myself from toxic relationships. Now, it's not that money directly solves this issue. It's more about the freedom that financial security provides. In the past, I, like many, found myself tolerating certain relationships out of necessity. Perhaps it was tied to work or social circles, forcing me to maintain a facade even when it felt draining. Financial stability empowers me to be more selective about who I allow into my life. I can politely decline invitations or interactions that don't serve me. This might sound harsh, but it's about protecting my mental and emotional well-being. Life is too short to entertain negativity or force connections that feel inauthentic. By surrounding myself with people I respect and admire, individuals who uplift and inspire me, my quality of life has improved dramatically. It's about curating a social circle that aligns with my values and aspirations. My ninth and final principle is closely tied to the previous one. It's about the freedom to pursue work that I find genuinely fulfilling. Having reached a point of financial comfort, I no longer feel tethered to jobs solely for the paycheck. I have the luxury of prioritizing work that aligns with my passions and allows me to collaborate with people I admire. This means I can confidently decline opportunities, regardless of how lucrative they might be, if they involve working in toxic environments or with individuals I don't respect. On the flip side, I can wholeheartedly pursue projects that ignite my passion, even if the financial rewards are less substantial. It's about finding joy and purpose in my work, a luxury that financial security affords me. These are just a few of the guiding principles I've adopted to leverage my finances to enhance my quality of life. Remember, my goal is not to present a one-size-fits-all approach or to encourage reckless spending. It's about prompting you to reflect on your values, priorities, and aspirations, and to design a spending framework that aligns with your unique definition of a fulfilling life. For those of you early in your financial journeys, consider these principles as aspirational. Focus on building a solid financial foundation, cultivate healthy financial habits, and remember, the true value of financial security lies not in outward displays of wealth, but in the freedom it unlocks. The freedom to live a life that resonates with your core values. As we wrap up this three-part series on spending principles, I hope you've gained some valuable insights and practical tips to apply to your own lives. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. And for those of you eager to dive deeper into the world of personal finance and unlock your full potential, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and become part of the Simple Mind Space community. Until next time, remember, knowledge is power, financial literacy is freedom, and the journey to a fulfilling life starts with a single conscious step.